Hello, you're right. This time we're back with Cassie looking at the side pod and body rules. Let's look at those rules in your document. It's section 4, it's on page 4, and there's a whole series of rules about the body. The body of the car is basically the thing that's between the front and the back wheels, which is this section in here, and the side pods are these flat regions on the side of the car. Now the first rule here, 4A, says that the width of the side pods must be a minimum of 50 millimeters. So I see 50 millimeters in between those side pods. And part B says those side pods must project a surface of 30 by 15 millimeters. Now you need to decide for yourselves what that means, but I'll show you on the diagram what it could mean. So let's look at our car. Now, first of all, it's saying the width between the side pods must be 50 millimeters. Now, that's one of our side pods there, I believe. The other one's on the other side. Obviously, it needs to be 50 millimeters between them. Look at the bottom of the car. Last video, we looked at some of the rules about the maximum width of the car. It had to be bigger than 60 millimeters. And I'm pretty sure it's clear to you that if this is 60 millimeters across here, then our side pods are definitely further than 50 millimeters apart. So that's perfectly fine for our side pods. However, if you're unsure, you could always draw a 50 mm wide rectangle just to make sure that your side pods were more than 50 millimeters apart. Let's look at the actual projected surface now. If we look at the side of the car here, what we're going to do, I'm going to draw a little image on here. So I'm going to do, let's see, a new sketch on that side pod. But I actually want to see where these side pod dimensions are. So I might go what's called project geometry up here. And I'll just click on that there so I can actually see the size of the side pod. Now if we look at our rules, the side pod has to be projecting a surface of 30 by 15 millimeters. So let's draw a little rectangle like that. So this has got to be 30 wide, tab, 15 high, enter. So there's our rectangle. Let's press escape, then I'll highlight that so I can drag it down. And that's the projected area the side pod needs to have. Now, that actual flat surface of the side pod is not quite the right size. It's higher than it needs to be, which is fine, but it's not necessarily as wide as it needs to be. However, it says the projected surface has to be bigger than that. So if I can move that around, yeah, look. Whether you believe that projected surface goes all the way to this line just here to here, that's up for you to decide. You've got to read the rules yourselves and decide if that side pod is big enough or if it's not big enough. So let's just check it again. It's got to be no less than 30 millimeters wide and 50 millimeters high. So you've got to decide if that's compliant or not compliant and what you're going to do about that. So let's just finish that sketch there. Let's see some of the more rules. Let's have a look. The next rule says there must be virtual cargo, which is the main body of the car. So there's a limited size. There's a minimum size you need for this main body of the car. It says that dimensions must be as shown below. And it's this funny shape here. It's got to be at least 60 millimeters long, at least 40 millimeters wide at the back, at least 8 at the front, and it's got to be at least 8 millimeters tall. So let's just check that out by drawing that on our image, and then you can check if your car is compliant. So what I might do is I might look at one of these planes. Let's see, it must be the XZ plane. And I'll look at the XZ plane. Then I'll do a new sketch on the XZ plane. We're going to draw that shape. So I'm going to start with a line. This line is going to be, what does that have to be, 40 millimeters high. And then there was just two curved surfaces. This one here had to be 8. And then it just joined back up to there again. The other dimension we need to worry about, well, it didn't work. Let's try that again. Okay, so a line had to be 40 millimeters. Check. Just some angled line. A line going vertically down had to be 8 millimeters. Another line back here. So that's the basic shape. It needs a dimension though. That needed to be 60 millimeters. And because I want it to be symmetrical, I might constrain some points to be on the same line. Let's see, what can I do for that line? Here we go, these 2 points. I'm going to make the midpoint of this line and the midpoint of that line have to be constrained to be horizontal with this axis just here. So that means that's going to stay in shape. Now we want to move that, so I'm going to press escape and highlight that. This basically has to fit in the body of our car between the two wheels, and I think it's pretty clear that our car is definitely bigger than that minimum size. We could also check the height there, so let's extrude that. And I might just rotate our car around a little bit. Probably a bit too far. There we go. We want to extrude that profile. I'm pretty sure it's going upwards. It's going to be 8 minimum. Is it going to let me do that? Maybe not. Doesn't like that for some reason. Probably didn't choose an area, so let's press E for extrude, or extrude that area. It wants to go upwards, that's great, 8 millimeters, check. And let's just see, now that shape is pretty much clearly inside the car. I've cut it through, which is a bit silly, but you can see our car is definitely bigger than that, so I might undo that because I don't want that hole being in my car. But that just shows that our car is definitely, it's thicker than the minimum 8 millimeters. What's our next rule we're going to look at? Next rule, check. There's an exclusion zone. So behind the front wheels is an exclusion zone, a little square of 15 by 15 millimeters where nothing can be in. So let's have a look on our image of that. So we might look at the top of our car for this one. So let's just look at the top. Okay, so directly behind the wheel there needs to be a 15 by 15 millimeter exclusion zone. So let's draw another rectangle. Let's make it 15 by 15, so it's a nice little square. I wonder if I can project geometry. Let's project, that's that back wheel just there, so I'll put that there just so I can see where that back wheel is. I'm going to press escape again, and let's just move that down, sorry, front wheel, and I'll put that just on that line there, and I'm pretty clear there's nothing in that exclusion zone in our car on that side, and because our car's symmetrical, there'll be nothing on that side too. So from that you can judge whether that's compliant, and if you're designing your own car, that's something else you can do to judge if your car's compliant. You can't have anything in that square behind the wheels. Let's finish that sketch off. We've got a whole lot of new little drawings on there. That's not going to change our car at all. It just means that they're going to have those little drawings in our car from now on, but we can always hide those drawings. So there are some new sketches. We can right click and get rid of that visibility. We can right click and get rid of that visibility. And we can right click and get rid of that visibility too. So if you don't like those pictures being there, you can always right click and get rid of them. There's also this work plane, we can get rid of its visibility too if you don't like that. There we go. All those drawings are still there, or our compliance drawings are still there, just we can't see them in that sketch.